Americans love a winner. Americans will not tolerate a loser. Americans despise cowards. Americans play to win all the time. The Patton Society website quotes this line from one of General George S. Patton's speeches during the Second World War that helped to inspire American soldiers to persist through the war. General Patton was an admirable man who instilled motivation and confidence in his men with the result of winning battles and wars. I'm going to give you a brief overview of General Patton and tell about a few of his achievements and actions that made him great. General Patton was on a path towards greatness even before his time in the Second World War, for which he was most commonly known. The biography of General George S. Patton, Jr. gives a great amount of information about his life. He was born on November 11, 1885, and decided as a small child that his lifetime goal was to become a hero. He had many relatives who had fought in past wars, and he grew up hearing stories about them. Patton graduated from West Point in 1909 and was then commissioned as a second lieutenant in the 15th Cavalry Regiment. He also represented the United States in the Stockholm Olympics modern pentathlon. It was during this that his colorful nature was illustrated when he claimed that a wayward pistol shot actually went through the bullet hole of a previous round. He received much recognition and attention over the next couple of decades, culminating with his honorable graduation from the Army War College in 1932. During these early years in the Army, Patton became a strong admirer of tank warfare, believing that they were the future of battle. This decision would prove to be very beneficial to both his and his country's future endeavors. General Patton emerged as a truly great leader and influential man during the beginning of the Second World War. He started by convincing Congress to expand America's tank forces, which would play many deciding roles during the war. It was also during this time that he began giving his famous blood and guts speeches. These were very graphic and motivational speeches that instilled confidence in his men that they needed in order to follow him into victory. Wilmot's book, called World War II, describes many of Patton's accomplishments during the war. In 1944, Patton took command of the Third Army and then proceeded to march them across 600 miles of Europe, liberating and conquering over 81,000 miles of land. Patton and his men moved so fast across the country, and the only reason that they were stopped was because supplies needed to be diverted to another operation. They were able to move so fast because the German forces knew of Patton and were fearful of him. One of Patton's final great acts of the war and of his life was the relief of the freezing cold American army in the Bastogne forest. This prevented the German forces from advancing back into Western Europe, out of which they had just been driven. During all of these events, Patton was known for his hard and unorthodox leadership styles. At one point in the war, the general even slapped a soldier because he was crying because of shell shock. And while he was reprimanded for events such as these are what made him a very effective leader. General Patton was a motivator and strived to draw the best out of everything he and his subordinates did. This brief summary of events is a minuscule sample of the great work done by General Patton. It is my hope that from hearing this information, you will develop a respect for this man and a desire to learn more about him. While it could be complained that General Patton was arrogant with his antics, aspects of this attitude are what made him a great leader. If he had not had the mindset that he and his men were the absolute greatest, they would not have been able to accomplish all that they did during World War II. From very successful beginnings throughout a heroic military career, General Patton is an admirable figure worthy of America's respect and recognition.